fun stuff. Today's project is an interactive Rolodex card, or a Memorydex card as a lot of people refer to them now. I am using the Mushroom Cup die set and the new Up, Up, and Away stamp set from Pixi Designs in my project today. I love the stamps. They're full of cute little critters. Some of them are floating away on balloons. Some of them can be peeking over an edge. And the sentiments match really well as well. Off screen, I went ahead and die cut everything I was going to need for today's project. And I went ahead and stamped the adorable little monkey floating away on that balloon as well. As you can see, I also die cut another plain image of that monkey that's not stamped for durability. These are all the pieces that will make up the house. You have windows. This is the coffee, like the liquid that would be at the top. I'm going to use that for placement, but I won't actually be adding it to the card because it would create too much bulk for my slider. The idea is that little monkey is going to slide out the top of the house. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and color my monkey. I left this in the video, but I will link the colors in the description box below because I did speed it up just to save on time. I wanted him kind of bright and cheery, so I went ahead and did a yellow balloon and blended that all out. Okay, now that our monkey's all colored, we're going to work on our house. Today I'm going to actually color the house doing ink blending with the Ink on 3 Atelier inks. I do like how these blend out, and I like the control I can use to shade my edges a little more when I ink blend. Markers can give the same effect. I just find this a little quicker when I'm going for solid colors. I'm doing the base of my cup in a brown, just really focusing on the perimeter because the center is gonna be kind of covered a little with all of the windows and the doors and stuff. So speaking of doors, here's my door. I did brown to start, and then I just took a blending brush that I have black on, but I didn't add more ink to it. So it's kind of just dry brushing, changing the tone of that brown just a little so it doesn't blend into the base. Here's all the pieces to do the windows, and I went with yellow for the inside, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the framework for both the door and the windows in green. This is the base for my Memorydex card. I am just lightly going in with some green at the bottom, and then I'm going to come in with teal at the top for like a sky. These two could blend together, but for this look, I actually wanted a little bit of white in between so they didn't register all the way together. Now bringing back in the stamp set, we're going to pull off those clouds and our sentiment at the moment. The clouds we're going to go ahead and stamp into the background. And then the sentiment says, "Let your dreams fly." We're going to stamp that down in the corner. I'm going to actually use the same colors I just ink blended on the background to give more like a tone on tone look and tie it all together. I'm setting the clouds there just to kind of get an idea of some placement, and then I'm going to come in and go ahead and stamp my sentiment directly over that grassy toned edge with the same teal I did the sky in. After the sentiment stamped, I'll move on to those clouds. The idea of the clouds is we're not going to see a whole lot of them because of the mushroom house, but I did want some interest in the background for the sky, so I'm just going to use that teal ink again and stamp them kind of where the wind takes me. I did want to have some variety, so I'm angling them a little bit just to get some different edging done. And I'm not super concerned about solid stamping towards the middle of the card, as you can see, because that's all going to get covered up by the mushroom house. Now that the base is done, we can move on to the assembly of our mushroom house. Here I am going to actually cut off that top part of the mushroom because I need it to be out of the way for the slider channel. So I'm just coming in with a small pair of scissors and just kind of continuing that line that's already die cut into it and cutting it off. Making sure the top still fits. You can see, you don't really see any of that, but I'm going to just trim my corners to dull the edge a little bit. And it covers up perfectly. Now I'm going to go ahead and add on the windows and the door. For this, I'm really just going to do a bunch of gluing. But first, I did think to add some shimmer to the inside, kind of like the light is glowing through the window. So I wanted to add that to the yellow before I put on my green frames. It just gives it an extra little bit of sparkle. And since I love sparkle, I figured why stop with the yellow? I decided to actually add sparkle to the entire white portion of my mushroom base. So this is what would go underneath that red. And I thought it'd be neat to have like the white spots appear sparkly. I could have done this after attaching the red, but then I would have risked getting the glitter pin on my red top. So I thought I would do it before I even attached the red on. And surprise, this would be a freeze frame because I messed up a little bit on the first one and didn't record the process. So here we are making a second one. I did change the colors a little bit, but the entire card will be pretty much the same. You need to cut some strips of paper wide enough to fit your monkey and then some 1/4-inch strips to create the channel, which is what I'm gluing together here. I do them about 3 pieces thick to add some stability to the channel and a little bit of depth. You could achieve this with foam tape, but I like to use my scraps and I find it slides a little better because it doesn't stick to the tape. Here I am just attaching half of my monkey, the blank die, to the back side of my slider tab, and I attached it to the wrong side, so I'm re-gluing him. And then I'm going to sandwich that slider tab in between my 2 die cut monkeys. It helps hide the edge of the tab and add stability to the monkey all at the same time. And as you can see, he's going to slide right in that little pocket slot. Go ahead and mark where you need to put your channel strips. I do that with a pencil on each side of my slider bar. And then you want to make sure you're marking the widest part of your die cut. On the monkey, I believe it's his paws. And then my last mark is where I want it to stop. That gives me an idea of how long to make the slider pull and where I need to put a stopper so he can't slide out the wrong way. This piece actually just helps smooth out this spot because I need it to slide smoothly with that edge at the top. Sometimes you feel when you slide something up and down that it catches, and that is kind of what happened here for me. He needed just a little bit of a buffer, so he slid up and down and into that pocket slot a little easier out the top of the mushroom house. Sometimes it's not always necessary. In this case, I did find it to help him slide a lot smoother. But you can do whatever works for your die cut at the time. If you're not using the monkey, maybe you're using something else. that's when you just kind of want to feel and see if he's sliding okay. So here I'm putting the stoppers so he can't slide down too far. And I just want to attach it to the bottom. Go ahead and put him in and see kind of where you want him peeking out of so you know how far to make it go down. And at that point, you have that bar and it'll stop against the slider channels that we placed earlier alongside of the slider tab, and it will keep him from coming out. See, there he goes. It's hard to envision when he's not pieced all together. When he's sandwiched on the Memorydex card, he can't fold out of that channel as easy, which is the next step. You're gonna take some double-sided foam tape and double it up for some depth. Unless you already have a thicker foam tape. Mine's pretty thin, so I do find the need to double it sometimes just to achieve what I need to do for mobility on my sliders. And then I'm just putting it everywhere that my slider doesn't go. If you put it in the way of your slider, you will find your slider no longer slides. So sometimes it takes some manipulating of the tape to get it where you want it, which is kind of what you see with me trimming and adding different types of pieces here and there. But as long as you do not place it where the slider is, it will be just fine. After all of the foam tape is on, you're going to pull off the release paper and attach it to the base we were working on earlier, the Memorydex base. This one, like I said, I messed up on the first one a little bit and didn't record all of it. So this one I did a little bolder in colors, but I kept the scene the same. And he just attaches right in the middle. And you can see now he slides up and down. And there are our 2 Memorydex cards. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Be sure to check out the links below. It'll link you over to the store for the products I used today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.